External microphone. Okay, now you should be able to hear me. Damn, okay, so I streamed all this time without any audio. Damn, okay. Well, at least I found out. So.
Indians doing so. So this isn't my strength at all. It is rather the strength of India. Whenever we speak of peace,
Yeah,
the world listens to us.
yeah.
Because
Okay.
India is the land of Gautam Buddha and Mahatma Gandhi.
Okay.
And Indians aren't hardwired to espouse strife and conflict.
Yeah?
We espouse harmony instead.
I'm
We
not so
seek neither
sure
to
about
wage
that.
war against nature nor to foster strife among nations.
Okay.
We stand for peace.
You don't.
And wherever we can act as peacemakers, we have gladly embraced.
You don't. This is. So. Riesci a entrare? Ma come no? Ma figa. Ma figa! Ma figo! Figo! Adesso basta! Prima di essere ammazzato. Boh, semplicemente figa, per fare 20 minuti di video devo mettermi a lavorare seriamente per 3-4 giorni. Per fare 20 minuti di clip dalla live servono 25 minuti. Vabbè, ma infatti guarderò i primi 20 minuti. E in caso. Cosa? No, no. Basta. Basta scammare. Basta. Boh, cioè adesso vediamo comunque. Magari mi annoio e farò qualcos'altro. Però vabbè, alla fine è un podcast abbastanza interessante. Quindi lo guardo anche volentieri. Vabbè, Floris, dimmi, entra un secondo, dimmi se l'audio va bene tutto e poi comincio a registrare. Non ci posso credere. Vabbè, dovremmo streamare così, guys. Niente da dire, niente da dire. Entra un secondo, figa. So Lex Fridman just did a podcast with Modi. Wow. Okay. I'm kind of interested in this, to be honest. Veniva dal mare, però sapevo amare.
Ma è questo che fai tu? A questo?
H3.
C'è la posta?
Sì, ma non funziona.
Vabbè, prova un secondo.
Ce l'ho nel telefono. Ma figa, entra un secondo giusto per dirmi com'è l'audio. Cioè, solo quello mi serve adesso. Usa i dati. Ma figa, Floris.
Ah, ma figa, l'ha schiacciato. L'ha messo per un...
Cosa? Uff. Uff! Bravo, 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 bravo. Bravo Loris! Complimenti, bravo, 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 complimenti, bravo, 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 bravo. Bravo! Bravo! Complimenti, bravo, bravo, complimenti, bravo. Bravo, bravo, complimenti, bravo.
Un po' di fette biscottate con la Nutella.
Sì. Sì, certo, Pritvir, è proprio quello che stavo pensando. Io infatti stavo per chiedertelo in realtà. Cioè, per favore, avresti delle fette biscottate, un po' di Nutella, che a me piace molto, eh. Io sono un grande fan comunque. L'ora più dolce, prima di essere arrestato.
Questo lo metti tipo qua dietro, tipo che fluttua. Che fluttua. Ci starebbe.
A posto, l'audio funziona. L'audio funziona perfettamente. Comunque io mi sono connesso non a quello lì, ma a un altro. Ce n'è un altro con un nome simile. Cioè Vodafone 5G.
Anche quello gira.
Sì, ovviamente.
Perché? È lo stesso.
Certo.
Ah, veramente? Ecco.
Vabbè, non fare casino con i piatti o con altro che si sente. Cioè, tipo anche la palla si sente.
Veramente?
Sì.
Hai capito quello che ha fatto l'audio? Hai capito?
Vabbè, facciamo sta reaction, guys.
Sì, no, aspetta, non si può... Ah, veramente? Ecco.
Vabbè, non fare casino con i piatti o con altro che si sente. Cioè, tipo anche la palla si sente. Sì.
Hai capito quello che ha fatto l'audio?
Sono vabbè, facciamo sta reaction, guys.
Sì, no, aspetta, non si può... Ah, veramente? Ecco.
Vabbè, non fare casino con i piatti o con altro che si sente. Cioè, tipo anche... Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, non fare casino.
Per quante ore è?
Cosa?
Quante ore dura?
2, ma io guarderò tipo la prima al massimo. Prova che da un'ora di reaction posso tirar fuori veramente 5-6 clip.
Ah, va benissimo.
Lo so che fa benissimo.
Bene, inizia. Io vado di là.
A posto. Più dolce prima di essere arrestato. Okay, let's watch this. I'm kind of interested.
My strength lies.
I've never heard him speak about pretty much anything. I have no preconceived notion. I don't care about being nice or bad to him. I don't care. So let's watch this.
Not in my name,
Yeah.
but in the backing of 1.4 billion Indians and thousands of years of timeless culture and heritage.
Yeah, it makes
So
sense.
wherever I go, I carry with me the essence of thousands of years of Vedic tradition, the timeless teachings of Swami Vivekananda, and the blessings, dreams, and aspirations of 1.4 billion Indians.
Yeah.
When I shake hands with a world leader, it's not Modi, but 1.4 billion Indians doing so.
Yeah, the big population
So
of
this
India. The big population of India definitely plays a strong part in India's strength as a nation.
isn't my strength at all. It is rather the strength of India.
Obviously.
Whenever we speak of
I mean, if it was his strength, he would be a dictator.
peace, the world listens to us.
Yeah.
Because India
Kashmir
is the land of Gautam Buddha
Kashmir is an example.
and
of
Mahatma Gandhi. And Indians aren't hardwired to espouse strife and conflict. We espouse harmony instead. We seek neither to wage war against nature nor to foster strife among nations.
that. Nature? Have you seen the air quality in the air quality is so bad in India they had to create a new air quality index that is more gentle with them. That is like kind of more shy to tell them that the air quality is so bad.
We stand for
And you live in harmony with nature?
against nature nor to foster
India is an
strife among
eco-monster.
nations. We stand for peace. And
Yeah.
wherever we can act as peacemakers, we
yeah.
have gladly embraced that responsibility.
Awesome.
My early life was spent in extreme poverty, but we never really felt the burden of poverty. You see, someone who is used to wearing fine shoes will feel their absence when they don't have them. But for us, we had never worn shoes in our lives. So, how would we even know that wearing shoes was a big deal?
Yeah.
We weren't in a position to compare. That's just how we lived. When I
my
became
God.
Prime Minister,
When
I
does this
specially
podcast
invited
start?
Pakistan to my
Prime Minister
Yeah.
and everywhere else. The
Introduction.
following is a conversation with. So I should also say I'm fasting right now. It's been almost 2 days, 45 hours.
Okay.
So just water, no food. In honor of this conversation, just to get in the right mindset, get into the spiritual level. I've read that you often fast for
if-
many days.
I feel
can you-
like a lot of Westerns have this conception and this idea of Indians being all like meditation and yoga masters, that somehow Indians are like these kind of spiritual beings. That's not the case, bro.
Can you explain why you fast?
That's so stupid.
And where does your mind go when you fast?
First of all, I'm truly pleasantly surprised and honored that you're fasting.
He's so slow.
All the more because it feels like
Bro, go quicker.
you're fasting as a tribute of respect for me.
Yeah.
So I express my deepest gratitude to you for doing this.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
In India, our religious traditions
Yeah.
are actually a way of life.
Makes sense.
Our Supreme Court once gave a brilliant interpretation of Hinduism. They have stated that Hinduism is not about rituals or methods of worship, but rather it's a way of living, a philosophy that guides life itself.
Oh, awesome.
And in our scriptures, there is deep discussion on elevating the body, mind, intellect, soul, and humanity. They outline various paths, traditions, and systems to achieve this.
Bro, is this a normal way to start a conversation? Like, hi, did you know that Hinduism is a way of living? And like, it's quite clear that Greater India is something that, the Hindu. He wasn't even prompted about the religion at all.
And fasting is
crazy.
one of them.
Yeah.
But fasting alone isn't everything.
Finally, we got to fasting. Like, can you tell me something about fasting? Yeah, sure. Let me just talk about religion first.
In India, whether you see it culturally or philosophically, sometimes I see that fasting is a way to cultivate discipline. If I put it in simple terms or explain it to the viewers who are unfamiliar
I don't know how
with India,
critical I should be with
it is a powerful tool
criticizing Indian
to
people
bring both the inner and outer self
on the internet. It generally
into
doesn't bring
balance.
good.
It shapes life in profound ways.
Yeah.
When you fast, You may have noticed, as you said, you've been fasting on water for 2 days. Every single one of your senses, especially smell, touch, and taste, becomes highly sensitive. You may even notice the subtle aroma of water itself,
Okay,
something you
so
probably never noticed before when.
I'm looking at the timeline and they're talking about fasting for 10 minutes?
My past lifestyle was such that I naturally developed this habit over time.
Yeah.
Then, in March or April, another Navratri occurs, called Chaitra Navratri. This year, it will likely begin around March 31st.
Okay.
During this 9-day fast, I eat only one specific fruit once a day.
What fruit is that?
So for those 9 days, if let's say I choose
Oh, you
papaya,
choose it first. Okay.
then for all 9 days, I won't touch anything else, just papaya.
So it's not a fast.
That too, I eat only once a day. That's how I follow my 9-day fasting routine.
Okay, well.
So there
yeah.
are numerous fasts I keep throughout the year. And this has become a deeply ingrained tradition in my life.
Yeah,
Perhaps I
fasting
can say that I've been
is
following
awesome.
these practices for 50 to 55 years.
Has there been times when you met with a world leader and completely fasted? And maybe what do they think about that? What do they think about your ability to do that kind of thing? And you're right, I should mention that
I mean, it's not some kind of superpower. Humanity has lived like that for so long. Right?
from even my 2 days, my ability to be present, my ability to sense everything, sharply focus on this experience is elevated. But yes, is there stories with a world leader
Oh, wow.
that maybe jump to mind when you were fasted?
Well, most of the time, I don't even let people know about it. It's my personal matter.
Yeah,
So I
you're
never
fucking-
publicized it.
You're a fucking prime minister.
But people gradually started finding out. It became known only after I became chief minister and prime minister. Otherwise, it was purely personal.
Okay, makes sense. Makes
But
a
now
lot
that
of
it's out in
sense.
the open, I don't mind sharing. If someone asks, I tell them so it might be useful to them. Because it's not my personal property. It's my experience. And if that can help someone, why not share it? After all, my life has always been devoted to the well-being of others. For example, after I became prime minister, I had a bilateral meeting at the White House with President Obama.
Okay.
And he had also arranged a formal dinner. Then, as discussions between the two governments progressed, someone said, "Please join us for dinner." To which another replied, "But the prime minister doesn't eat." This left them a bit concerned. How do you host the leader of such a major nation at the White House without serving food? When we sat down, they brought me a glass of hot water.
It's crazy to think this
I
is
turned
an
to
AI
President
voice.
Obama and jokingly said, "Look, my dinner has arrived," as I placed the glass in front of me. Later, when I visited again, he still remembered. He smiled and said, "Last time you were fasting. This time we're having lunch. Since you're not fasting, you'll have to eat twice as much."
Let's go to the beginning.
Obama's
You
got
rose from
jokes.
humble beginnings to lead the world's largest democracy. So I think there's a lot of people for whom this is
Largest
truly
democracy.
inspiring.
Yeah, that's some like
Your family was of very modest means,
quote
and
unquote
you grew up
democracy.
in a one-room house
Kind of thing.
with a mud floor, your whole family living there. Tell me about your childhood. How did those...
I'm not interested in the childhood. We have advice to young people. Let's see what he has to say.
There's a lot of young people listening to this that are truly inspired by your story. From those humble beginnings to the leader of the biggest democracy in the world. What can you tell to those young folks who are struggling, who are lost in the world, who are trying to find...
I mean, now that I think about this, it's actually very democratic. The fact that you can be a extremely poor person and eventually rise to become the leader of a democracy so big. It actually is kind of democratic. Makes sense. You can't control
find their way.
so much.
What
of it.
advice could you give them?
I guess it's some little parts that get mainly oppressed and controlled, but since it's such a vast territory, there always is going to be something new, you know?
I
happening
want to
somewhere.
tell all the young people the following.
Yeah.
No matter
There's always a light
how
at the
dark
end
the
of
night may
tunnel.
seem, it is still just night. And morning is bound to come.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
That's why we need patience and self-confidence.
We're living through a renaissance.
Yes, the challenges
right
are real.
now.
But I am not defined by my
Renaissance.
circumstances. I am here for a purpose, sent by a higher power, and I am not alone.
Yeah.
The one who sent me is always with me. This unwavering faith should always remain within us. Difficulties are a test of endurance. They are not meant to defeat me.
It's crazy how
Hardships
unrelated the
exist to make me
speech is
stronger,
to
helping me grow
like
and improve,
the face.
not to leave me feeling hopeless or discouraged.
He spoke Hindi.
Personally,
Oh wow.
I see every crisis, every challenge as an opportunity.
I
So do
thought
all
he'd
young people, I
speak in
say.
English.
Have patience. There are no shortcuts in life. At our railway stations, there hangs a sign for those who habitually cross the tracks instead of using the bridge. It reads, "Shortcut will cut you short." I would tell young people the same. Shortcut will cut you short.
Yeah, I'm not interested in this advice. Let's see, the other chapters are Journey in the Himalayas, which is pretty dope. Becoming a monk, RSS and Hindi nationalism. Let's see explaining India. This seems like a pretty interesting
But they've also helped push
part.
the idea of India. What is the idea that unifies India? What is India as a nation?
Yeah.
What is the foundational idea that unites
Hinduism,
all of these disparate
I think.
worlds and communities and cultures? What would it be?
Look, India is a cultural identity. It is a civilization that dates back thousands of years.
Yeah.
Consider the vastness of India.
It's
Over
really big.
100 languages,
Yeah.
thousands of dialects.
Yeah.
India is so diverse that we have a saying that every 20 miles the language changes. Customs change, cuisine changes, even clothing styles shift from region to region, from the south to the north. You will see immense diversity across the country. But if you dig a little deeper, you will find a common thread. For example, the stories of Lord Ram can be heard everywhere in India. His name echoes in every corner of the country. But if you look
Awesome.
closely, from Tamil Nadu to Jammu and Kashmir, you will always find people whose names include Ram in some form.
Yeah.
In Gujarat, he might be called Ram Bhai. In Tamil Nadu, Ramachandran. And in Maharashtra, Ram Bhau. This unique cultural bond is what unites India as one civilization.
Yeah.
Take something as simple as bathing in water. We have a ritual
It's the history.
where all the rivers of India are remembered. They chant, "I am bathing with the waters of all these rivers: Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari, Saraswati, Narmada, Sindhu, Kaveri." It's a sentiment that unites a nation. And we have a long tradition of making such resolutions at the beginning of important events and
This
rituals.
map looks kind of interesting.
And the resolution itself can present a historical record.
Yeah.
And in so doing, serve as a way of collecting and preserving historical data. It has been an incredibly unique system, guided meticulously by our scriptures. When someone makes a resolution, performs a puja, or even during weddings,
This is such a boring podcast. They're talking about nothing interesting. Maybe, I mean, they're talking about peace in Ukraine. Let's see if this is more interesting. Actually, right, the second hour gets more interesting. So let's watch that now. This introduction, first hour was so fucking boring. But yeah, let's watch Peace in Ukraine.
You have spoken about, you have the experience, you have the skill, you have the geopolitical leverage to be the biggest peacemaker in the world today on the world stage, and there's several
That's not
wars
true.
going on. Can you maybe explain
That's not true. That's. He said.
experience, you have the skill, you have the geopolitical leverage
What
to be
geopolitical leverage
the biggest
does India have over Ukraine and Russia? Or Israel and Palestine? What kind of leverage does India have? India has no business in those wars.
peacemaker in the world today on the world stage, and there's several wars going on.
Yeah.
Can you maybe explain how you approach the process of making peace, helping make peace between two warring nations? For example, Russia and Ukraine.
well, I represent the country. That is the land of Lord Buddha. I
Yeah.
represent the country that is the land of Mahatma Gandhi. These are the great souls whose teachings, words, actions, and behavior are entirely dedicated to peace. And that is why, culturally and historically, our background is so strong that whenever we speak of peace, the world listens to us.
Okay.
Because India is the land of Gautam Buddha and Mahatma Gandhi, and Indians aren't hardwired to espouse strife and conflict. We espouse harmony instead. We seek neither to wage war against nature nor to foster strife among nations. We stand for peace, and wherever we can act as peacemakers, we have gladly embraced that responsibility. Returning to your example, I have a close relationship with Russia and Ukraine alike.
I don't even think
I
he
can
knows
sit
the
with President
president.
Putin and say that this is not the time for
I
war.
don't think he knows what.
And I can
what
also tell
Ukraine's
President
president
Zelensky in a
is.
friendly way
Oh, he knows.
that, brother, regardless of how
Well-
many people stand with you in the world,
Yeah.
there will never be a resolution on the battlefield.
Yeah.
The resolution will only come when both Ukraine and Russia come to the negotiating table. Ukraine may hold countless discussions with their allies, but it will bear no fruit. Discussions must include both parties instead. Initially, it was challenging to find peace, but now the current situation presents an opportunity for meaningful and productive talks between Ukraine and Russia.
I think he's not
There
the
has
most
been a lot of
qualified.
suffering. Even the global south has suffered. The world has been grappling with a food, fuel, and fertilizer crisis. So, the global community should unite in the pursuit of peace.
Sure.
As for me, I have always maintained that I stand with peace. I am not neutral. I have a stance, and that is peace. And peace is what I strive for.
That's awesome. It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. If it actually was this way, that would be dope. But yeah, now they're talking about India,
Two
Pakistan.
nuclear powers with strong ideological differences. You are a great peacemaker, looking
Yeah,
out
why don't you
into
make
the
peace
future
with Pakistan?
as a visionary. What do you see as the path for friendship, for peace, for good relations between India and Pakistan?
This is interesting.
I would like to
Look at how sad his
delve
face
into
is.
periods of our history the world may be unfamiliar with. Before 1947, during the struggle for independence,
Yeah.
everyone was fighting side by side, shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
And the nation was eagerly waiting to celebrate the freedom, the joy of independence.
Yeah.
Now, we could have a lengthy discussion on what led to the events that unfolded. But the fact remains that the policymakers of the time agreed to India's partition.
Yeah.
And they agreed to the Muslim side's demand of carving out a separate nation, with hearts weighed down by grief and silent tears. Indians embraced this painful reality.
Sure.
However, what unfolded was an immediate heartbreaking saga of bloodshed. Trains filled with bloodied, wounded people and corpses started arriving from Pakistan. It was a harrowing sight. After getting their own way, we expected them to live and let live. And yet, they chose not to foster a harmonious coexistence. Time and again, they decided to be at odds with India.
So he's blaming
They have waged a
Pakistan.
proxy war against us.
Proxy.
Don't mistake this for ideology.
Okay.
What kind of ideology thrives on bloodshed and the export of terror? And we are not the sole victims of this menace. Wherever terror strikes in the world, the trail somehow leads to Pakistan. Let's take the September 11th attacks, for example.
Oh my God. Anything that's wrong with the world comes from Pakistan. Let's go.
The main mastermind behind it, Osama bin Laden, where did he eventually emerge from? He had taken refuge in Pakistan. The world has recognized that, in a way, terrorism and the terrorist mindset are deeply rooted in Pakistan.
Okay.
Today, it stands as an epicenter of turmoil, not just for India, but for the world. And we have repeatedly asked them what good can come from this path. We have urged them to abandon the path of state-sponsored terrorism for good. What do you hope to gain by surrendering your nation to lawless forces? I even personally traveled to Lahore in the pursuit of peace. When I became Prime Minister,
Yeah.
I specially invited Pakistan to my swearing-in ceremony so we
Oh,
could
let's
turn over
go.
a new leaf Yet, every noble attempt at fostering peace was met with hostility and betrayal. We sincerely hope that wisdom prevails upon them and they choose the path of peace. I believe even the people of Pakistan long for peace because even they must be weary of living in
Yeah, but
strife and
people don't
unrest.
care, bro.
They must have grown weary of relentless terror,
The people
where
of
even innocent
Pakistan,
children are killed and countless lives are destroyed.
I think there are similarities so big between the people of Pakistan and people of India. It's just the leaders that are so morally bankrupt. But yeah, so he blamed every wrongful action of humanity on Pakistan and said that it's the home for terrorism, and wow, he really hates Pakistan.
Is there some
I don't think the people
memorable
care
stories from
like-
your past attempts to
Wow.
try to improve relations with Pakistan that could guide the path forward into the future?
Like I mentioned, my first attempt at improving bilateral relations was when I invited my Pakistani counterpart to my swearing in. It was a gesture of goodwill. It was a diplomatic gesture unlike any in decades. The very people who once questioned my approach to foreign policy were taken aback when they learned I had invited all SAARC heads of state and
wow.
our then president, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, beautifully captured that historic gesture in his memoir. This was a testament to how clear and confident India's foreign policy had become. This sent a clear message to the world about India's commitment to peace and harmony.
Sure.
But we didn't get the desired outcome.
Maybe to ask a little bit of a lighter question, who has the better cricket team, India or Pakistan? The two teams have a epic rivalry on the pitch. And more seriously, given the geopolitical
Quite
tensions
clear
that
he's
you
gonna
spoke
say
to,
India.
what role do sports and cricket
That's strong, bro.
and football play in
Yeah. Sports,
fostering better relations?
sports are great at controlling masses. He's not gonna say it, but like, I feel like some of the greatest democratic assets that countries have are their sports teams. They
I
mobilitate
think
so many people
sports have the power to energize the entire world. The spirit of
Yeah,
sports
the same thing happens with
brings
football.
people together across different nations. That's why I would never want to see sports being discredited.
Awesome. Yeah, don't
I
discredit
truly
sports.
believe that sports play a major role in human evolution. They're not just games.
At least in
They
gathering,
connect people
yeah.
on a deeper level.
Connection.
Now,
yeah.
coming to the question of who's better and who's not.
Yeah, it's like every mask falls once you're at the stadium. It's like it's the closest thing to being like in peace and harmony together. Like you're all at the stadium cheering for a team, and it almost like you need to have an adversary. It sort of shows that communities can be built, and it's so much easier to build them around, having a common enemy.
When it comes to techniques in sports,
Yeah.
I'm not an expert. Only those who
I could have
specialize in
told
the
that.
technical aspects can judge which techniques are superior and who the best players really are.
Yeah,
But sometimes
you're
the
just
result,
he's just a narrative mover, If you build the right narrative, that's enough. You don't need to know the technical things about sports. You can use sports like the Indian national cricket team to tell stories of greatness of your country, and a lot of people will be moved by that. It's like the successful proxy is more believable once you have that element of credibility.
speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Just a few days ago, India and Pakistan played a match. The result reveals which is the better team. That's how we know.
Yeah, I've watched this series called The Greatest Rivalry, India versus Pakistan, that describes so many incredible players, so many incredible games. It's always beautiful to see a great rivalry. You've also spoken about football. Football is very popular in India. So another tough
getting
question,
more
who is the
popular.
greatest football player of all time? We've got Messi, Pele, Maradona, Cristiano
It's
Ronaldo,
Messi
Zidane.
for
Who do you
sure.
think is the greatest
But he's gonna say
football player
Ronaldo
to have ever
maybe.
played?
It's absolutely true that many regions in India have a strong
Ma figa, sto streamando.
football culture. Our women's football team is performing really well. And the
Women's
men's team
football team is
football
performing
culture.
really
Our
well.
women's football team is performing really well.
Is it true? I'm not sure about that.
And the
I mean, I'm pretty sure that I can assemble a team of 11 people. One of them is me, and we would win against that team.
men's team is also making great progress. But if we talk about the
Men's
past,
team is making a lot of... They never got to the World Cup, bro. Come on. If India qualifies to the World Cup, that means India has made it.
back in the 1980s, one name that always stood out was Maradona. For that generation, he was seen as a true hero.
A true hero.
And if you
that
ask
does
today's
coke.
generation, they'll immediately mention Messi.
Yeah.
Now that you've asked, another interesting memory just came to mind. There's a state in India called Madhya Pradesh,
Yeah.
right in the center.
The greatest Ronaldo fan base is there. Probably Messi too. But like these community of Indian Pakistani football supporters is pretty much out of control. Like they're blinded by their football.
There's a district called Shadol, a completely tribal region where a large tribal community resides.
Yeah.
I really enjoy interacting with people from such communities, especially the self-help groups run by tribal women. So I decided to visit them and have a conversation. But when I got there, I noticed something fascinating. Around 80 to 100 young boys, kids, and even some older youth, all dressed in sports uniforms, standing together. Naturally, I walked over to them. So I asked them, "Where are you all from?" And they replied, "We're from Mini Brazil."
Mini
I was surprised and
Brazil
said, "What do you mean by Mini Brazil?"
in India?
They said, "That's what people call our village."
Wow.
Curious, I asked, "Why do they call it Mini Brazil?" They explained, "In our village, football has been played
That's what it
for
looks
4 generations. Nearly 80 national level players have come from here. Our entire village is dedicated to football." They also told me when we host our annual football match, nearly 20 to 25,000 spectators come from nearby villages to watch. I see the growing craze for football in India these days as a
Is it
positive
this?
sign because it not only fuels passion but also
What
builds
is
true
this,
team
bro?
spirit.
Come on.
Yeah, football is one of the great sports that unites not just India, the whole world. And that just shows the power of what sport can do.
Can't find
You recently
anything.
visited the United States and reinvigorated your friendship with Donald Trump. What do you like about Donald Trump as a friend, as a leader?
Wow, they've already
I'd
made...
like to share
This podcast came out like 5 hours ago, and now there are news on the Indian news talking about India's mini Brazil that doesn't exist. That, where the fuck is it? Oh, here it is. Bicharpur. Let's see. I'm interested in this, to be honest. Oh yeah, it's true. Bicharpur. Awesome. I'm happy for this. Hopefully some, good football players can come out of that.
with you an event that stands out in my memory.
You met
Perhaps
Trump.
from that, you'll get
Let's see
a
what he
better
says about
understanding of the
Trump.
point I'm trying to convey. For example, we had an event in Houston. Howdy Modi. Both President Trump and I were there, and the entire stadium was completely packed. A massive crowd at an event in the US is a huge moment. While packed stadiums are common in sports, this was extraordinary for a political rally. The Indian diaspora had gathered in large numbers.
Yeah.
Both of us delivered speeches, and he sat down below listening to me speak.
Awesome.
Now that's his humility. The President of the United States sitting in the audience while I spoke from the stage, that was a remarkable gesture on his part.
And
After
what
finishing
was he
my
meant to
speech, I
do?
stepped down. And as we all know, security in the US is extremely strict and thorough. The level of scrutiny there is on a completely different
I
level.
mean, Trump almost got
I went
assassinated
over
twice.
to thank him and casually said, "If you don't mind, why don't we take a lap around the stadium? There are so
Oh,
many
wow.
people here. Let's walk, wave, and greet them." In American life, it's almost impossible for the president to walk into a crowd of
Yeah.
thousands. But without even a moment's hesitation, he agreed and started walking with me. His entire security detail was thrown off guard. But for me, that moment was truly touching. It showed me that this man had courage. He makes his own decisions, but also he trusted me and my lead in that moment enough to have walked with me into the crowd.
He doesn't make his own decisions. He's the second consecutive puppet president that the United States have. He's doing stuff that he doesn't understand.
It was that sense of mutual trust, a strong bond between us, that I truly witnessed on that day.
The only thing that he leads is how he wants to communicate with the electors and the public. That's all he decides. The policies and everything else, he's a puppet.
And the way I saw President Trump that day, walking into
I feel like this is also, I'll just pause it a second. I just also think that this is also one of the main differences between India and the US. The US has, in the US, the president has much less power. I feel like a lot of the things that happen in India, Modi controls them directly.
crowd of thousands, without even asking security, was truly amazing. And if you watch the video now, you'll be amazed. When he was shot during the recent campaign,
Yeah.
I saw the same resilient and determined President Trump, the one who walked hand in hand with me in that stadium. Even after being shot, he remained unwaveringly dedicated to America. His life was for his nation.
Yeah.
His reflection showed his America First spirit, just as I believe in nation first. I stand for India first. And that's why we connect so well. These are the things that truly resonate. And
India first.
I believe that across the world,
The only thing
politicians are
India is
covered so
first
much by
in
the media
is pollution.
that people mostly perceive each other through its lens. People rarely get the chance to truly meet or personally know one another. And perhaps third-party intervention is the real cause of tensions. When I visited him in the White House for the first time,
Yeah.
there was already a lot written about President Trump in the media. At that time, he was still new to office, and the world had a rather different perception of him. Even I had been briefed in many different ways before meeting him. But to my surprise, the very moment I stepped into the White House, he broke all formal protocols right away. And then he personally took me on a tour of the White House. As he showed me around, I noticed something striking. He wasn't holding any notes or cue cards, nor was anyone accompanying him to assist. He pointed things out himself. This is where Abraham Lincoln lived, he said. He even explained why the courtroom was designed so long. He would point at the table and tell me which president
Trump is
signed here and on what date. I found that
He's a
incredibly
tourist
impressive.
guide.
It showed how much he honored the presidency
Yeah.
and how
He has to give
respectful and deeply
legitimacy to
connected
it.
he was to America's history. I could feel that.
He has to give
And he spoke to me
legitimacy
freely,
to
discussing
increase
many
his
things
power.
openly. That was my experience from our first meeting.
Yeah.
Later, when his first term ended, and President Biden won.
I just feel like
4 years passed.
like this whole podcast is just marketing. Like, it's a crazy world we live in. If you make the right TikToks, you get elected president. If you make the right podcasts, people like you. It's so crazy. And then these people living in Delhi, living in Washington, they can just decide for you stuff. Like, are we gonna go to war with this country or not? I don't want to fucking go to war. All of this is marketing. There's nothing true in this podcast. Nothing is true, and also it's dubbed, so I wouldn't be surprised if actually what he's saying in this English version is actually different from the Hindi one. But this is pretty much a portrait, a speaking live portrait that just represents the leader in the ways that it wants to be represented. Like, it's the modern equivalent of this kind of stuff. Whoops. It's the modern equivalent of this. This is what it is. These podcasts are exactly that.
But during that time, whenever someone we both knew met him,
And so now they're gonna portray like Trump, Modi, and all of these people as awesome leaders. And the goal is that are making you believe this so that you vote for them again and they stay in power.
And this must have happened dozens of times.
I'll just watch this 10 minutes on AI simply because I don't think there's anything that I want to know more about, to be honest. I feel like politics has a extremely huge technical gap when it comes to AI. That's what politicians should be talking about. Data privacy, artificial intelligence, the economy post AI. That's stuff that I want people to talk about in these kind of settings. Because that's what's going to have ultimately the most leverage and the most impact on real life. And I don't even think that it's a coincidence that it's not talked about.
You gave a powerful speech on AI a few weeks ago at the AI summit in France. In
Yeah.
it, you spoke about the talent pool for AI engineers in India. I think it's probably one of the
There's
biggest
a lot of them,
pools
yeah.
of brilliant engineers in the world. So how
Not as
can
good as China.
India become the leader in the space of AI? Currently lags behind the United States. What does it take for India to start winning and leading the world in AI?
Oh,
One thing I'm about to say might sound strong,
they need to learn
and
more,
it may
bro.
even upset
Study
some
more,
people.
study harder.
But since you've asked, I'll speak openly from my heart.
That's it.
No matter what the world does with AI, it will remain incomplete without India. I'm making this statement very responsibly. Tell me, you've heard my speech at the AI summit in Paris on global cooperation.
I don't think so.
What do you think?
Strongly disagree with him.
Can anyone develop AI entirely on their own?
Yes.
What is your perspective on this?
So you gave actually in your speech a brilliant example of the positive impact of AI and the limitations of AI. I think the example you gave is when you ask it to generate an image of a person writing with their
Left hand.
left hand, it's always going to generate a person writing with their right hand. So in that way, the West creating an AI system where India is not part of that process is always going to generate the person with the right hand. Is an essential part of what the world is historically, but especially in the 21st century.
I agree. I believe AI development is fundamentally a collaboration. Everyone involved.
Okay, so it makes sense that India has a lot of data. Like, the amount of data that India has is astronomical. So maybe if he means it that way, this could be true, but the amount of data that is, I feel like it's fundamentally wrong because Google has much more data and better data. Like, Google has more data than governments. I don't even feel like it's a political thing at all. There's no politics in AI. There's no borders. It's just technology. It's like an engine. Can you build an engine without India? Who cares about India? It's an engine.
Supports one another through shared experiences and learning.
Obviously, this is a strong
India isn't
thing,
just
though.
developing theoretical AI models.
India isn't developing
It is
anything at all. India isn't.
Actively working on and bringing to life AI-driven applications for very specific use cases.
Yeah, like what?
To ensure that GPU access is available to every section of society, we have already created a unique marketplace-based model to ensure its broad accessibility. A significant mindset
What
shift
does
is
that
taking
mean?
place in India. Though historical influences, traditional government procedures, or the lack of strong support infrastructure made us appear as lagging behind to others.
That's true, bro.
Take
Like
5G, for example. The world initially believed we were far behind.
5G. Okay, well, I feel like this is a pre-written speech just to talk about AI to masses of people who don't know anything about AI and indoctrinate them. Because I'm pretty sure that this guy right here He knows nothing about what he's talking about. He's just reading from a script.
But once we started, we
What does GPU democratization even mean? AI is by far led by China and the US, and that's it.
became the fastest nation globally to roll out comprehensive 5G networks. Recently, an American company executive visited me and shared his experiences about this very fact. He told me that if I were to advertise in the US for engineers, I would only receive enough applicants to fill a single room at best. But if I do the same in India, even a football field wouldn't be enough to hold them.
Yeah?
This indicates that India has access to an extraordinarily vast pool of talent, and that's
That's
our
true.
greatest strength.
That's true.
After all, artificial intelligence is fundamentally powered, shaped, and guided by human intelligence. Without genuine human intelligence, AI can't thrive or progress sustainably. And that real intelligence exists abundantly in India's youth and talent pool.
I mean, it's
Greatest asset.
But also, if you look, many of the top tech leaders, first of all, tech talent, but tech leaders in the US are of Indian origin. Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella, Aravind Srivastava. You've met with some of them. What spirit of their Indian origins do you think they carry in them that enables them to be so successful?
nothing at all.
Look, Indian culture emphasizes that there should be equal respect for the place where you're born and the place where you work. There should be no difference. As much as there is dedication to the land of birth, there should be the same sense of dedication to the land of work. You should always give your best wherever you are. Because of these rich cultural values,
let's go.
every Indian strives to give their best effort, regardless of their role or position. They don't wait until they're in senior roles, even in smaller roles. Secondly, they never get involved in anything questionable or unethical. They tend to remain dedicated.
They don't. They don't. The CEOs of Microsoft and Google don't get into ethical stuff?
To what's
Okay.
right and ethical. Their nature
I'll
is
believe
collaborative.
that.
They easily get along with others, eventually for success. Just having knowledge isn't enough. The
Obviously.
ability to work effectively as part of a team matters
willingness to
significantly
lie.
more. Understanding
The willingness to lie to audiences of millions of people is another one of these huge assets.
people and harnessing their abilities is an incredibly valuable skill.
Yeah.
Generally, people raised in India, especially those coming from joint families and brought up in an open society, find it easier to lead complex tasks and large teams effectively. That's why, today, in major corporations across the globe, you'll find Indians holding key leadership positions. And the problem solving abilities, along with the analytical thinking of Indian professionals, are truly exceptional. I believe this capability is so strong, it makes Indians globally competitive and extremely valuable on the international stage.
Yeah.
This is the reason why, in fields like innovation, entrepreneurship, startups, and boardrooms, Indians achieving extraordinary results everywhere. Take our space sector, for example. Previously, it was entirely government controlled. But just a couple of years ago, I opened it up to the private sector. And now we already have 200 startups working in space technology.
Are they
Moreover,
doing any good?
our missions like Chandrayaan are extremely cost effective. India's Chandrayaan mission cost less than what Hollywood spends making a single blockbuster film. So when the world sees how
Oh,
cost effective our
and
work
that's a
is, they naturally
blockbuster
think,
itself.
why not partner with India?
But
This
it's
automatically generates respect for Indian talent globally.
I think it
I
tells
believe-
more about Hollywood than India. You know, Hollywood is extremely wasteful. It's crazy how much money they spend.
This is a hallmark of our civilizational ethos.
So you spoke about this human intelligence. Do you worry that AI, artificial intelligence, will replace us humans?
Nope.
It's true that in every era, a competitive atmosphere was created between technology and humanity. At times, it was even portrayed as conflict. It was often portrayed as if technology would challenge human existence itself. But every time, as technology advanced, humans adapted and stayed a step ahead. It has always been the case. After all, it is humans who find the best ways to use technology to their advantage. And I believe that with AI, humans are now being forced to reflect on what it truly means to be human. This is the
Yeah.
real power of AI. Because of the way AI functions, it has challenged how we perceive work itself. But human imagination is the fuel. AI can create many things based on that. And in the future, it may achieve even more. Still, I firmly believe that no technology can ever replace the boundless creativity and imagination of the human mind.
I agree
Yeah.
with you. It does make me and a lot of people wonder what it makes humans special, because it seems that there's a lot that makes humans special. The imagination, the creativity, the consciousness, the ability to be afraid, to love, to dream, to think outside of the box, outside of the box of the box of the box, take risks, all of those things.
Now, look, humans have an innate ability to care for each other, the natural tendency to be concerned about one another. Now, can someone tell me, is AI capable of this?
This is one of the big open questions of the 21st century.
Oh, it kind of is. Well, okay, I think I've had enough of this. It's just indoctrination, and I don't want to be. I'm not particularly interested in this. I feel like Lex Fridman has lost a lot of credibility in the past few months. It's just like, if you want to talk about politics, that's inevitably going to happen. And I feel like I'm not so interested in politics. It's more the other way around. What the current environment feels like is that politics is interested in me, and politics is interested in all of us. And maybe it is exactly because right now with AI and a lot of technological progress, there is a strong stance to be made on whether nations should be existing at all. Like, why does Modi from his offices in New Delhi control what happens in places that are fundamentally unrelated to New Delhi? You know, I feel like the only goal of a government is that of making society function. That's it. And all of this kind of stuff is just a way to try to maintain power. And this whole podcast is a marketing stunt to make sure that people know what the Prime Minister thinks. And then they touch on topics like AI and important stuff and give vague answers and nothing useful at all. Like, he hasn't talked about how AI is going to change the world. He's not talked about what AI can do, what it cannot do. He didn't even talk about why it's a problem, why it's risky. And I feel like politicians should know that, because that's actually the greatest threat right now. Society could be extremely put in danger because of this. And I feel like, given the incompetence of our leaders right now, AI is much more of a threat if the people governing are not really competent in AI and don't know exactly what they can do and what the risks are and all of this stuff. So, you know, I read a book, it's called Sapiens. It's called Nexus. It's a book by this guy, Harari. Actually, I think I have it around here. Maybe I don't. But anyway, he talks about the fact that the people building the nuclear bombs were not the ones in control, but they were controlled by the politicians. So it's almost like every time there is this breakthrough technology, the politicians lead the technicians, because they have the stories of why we're building this. And so Modi talked about, you know, strength and unity and all of this kind of stuff, but ultimately technology is always put to the service of power. And I feel like power should be, in my opinion at least, liberating as many humans as possible from pain and slavery and injustice. But for a person that, you know, is governing, maybe that power could be used to maintain their leadership. That's what they're doing with this podcast. But anyway, I think that we've seen enough. I know nothing about Indian politics, to be honest. This was my first time seeing Modi, and I already hate the guy. Ah, serve un Floris, ho capito. Ho capito, ho capito. Anyway, let's... Oh, no. Let's code something. Actually, maybe I can just watch another video of another kind. I'll just make another reaction video. No, ho visto tipo, ho fatto 50 minuti in totale, ma figa, era noiosissimo.
Cosa ho detto?
Adesso reacto di nuovo a quel coglione. No, figa, non accendere quella merda. Figa, ha detto Brian Johnson che ci sono dei tossine. Dentro a... Ah, figa, pensavo fosse incenso. Allora, sto streamando Floris, adesso faccio un'altra reaction, non me ne frega un cazzo.
Ma no, fai cose, fai roba che serve.
Ma non ho voglia di fare coding
Guarda
adesso.
un secondo.
No,
Ma che
no.
bella adesso. Ho cambiato anche il bottone.
Okay, so this guy is extremely funny to me. He is the front poster kid. Oh, sorry. This guy is so funny to me. He's the poster kid for incompetence and just talking about stupid stuff. Let's watch this video. Forget ChatGPT. Okay, he knows what's up.
China is back with a crazy AI model that will completely blow your
yeah?
mind. If you had a look at DeepSeek and thought that was cool, check out Manus. Hi everyone, I'm Ishan Sharma, and
Oh wow, he knows.
the AI industry is completely blown away by what China has just launched. And
Yeah?
this is a general purpose AI agent that can do all of your tasks on your behalf. Let me show you what it's all about.
Yeah,
so this
what
is
kind of tasks?
Manus.im.
Oh, he feels like someone who knows.
The founder is from China. He
Let's
uploaded
see.
this video which completely took the AI world by storm.
Okay.
Now, there are so many use cases of Manus and how it can be.
Oh, yeah,
allows you
let's see the
to
use
create
cases.
websites. It allows you to research about anything. It allows you to create a list of tasks and then execute it one by one. So let me show you what Manus is all about. Even without logging in, you can actually look at its use cases right here on the website
I'm
itself.
covering
For
his
example, let's say you want to plan a trip to Japan in April. So if you play this out, it basically runs a video recording of how this model replied to this prompt. So this was the prompt. I need a 7-day travel itinerary to Japan. And as you can see, it's running all of the tests. It's searching all the websites. It's creating all of the documents. And it is going to come up with an in-depth research report for how can I
Wait, he didn't even log in. He didn't log in. What?
travel Japan for 7 days. All the places I can visit, how much money it will cost me,
Oh,
everything
so this is just a demo. He's showing the... Okay,
in depth.
he's showing the demo. Okay.
Not only does it browse the web like ChatGPT operator, which is paid, it also creates websites, or it also creates folders and documents for me to view at any time that I want. So as you can see, it's researching everything and it has completed the research. So it has created these docs that I can view if I want to. So I can look at travel handbook Japan HTML. So I can click on this preview. And this is a basic website that it created for me to have a look at my complete trip overview. So these are the dates. This is the travelers. This is the budget.
He didn't even ask you what the dates were. Like, I just want to travel, just... Bro, this is the main problem with AI. Like, I already can do this for these kind of budgets. AI would be useful if it could actually, like, respect some crazy budgets. If it's going to plan a trip and make it cost more than I would have spent, then it's not useful. No? Isn't that common sense?
budget. This is our interest, which I mentioned in the prompt itself. That this is
Anyway, this guy is not, he's not even looking at, like, he's not even using this tool, Manus. He's just looking at the
The
demo
artifact
and the documentations that they gave.
course
He didn't
on
even
momentum
bother, he didn't
course
even bother signing up for this fucking service. He just decided, you know what, this new stuff has come out, I'll just make a video about it and call it a day. And I won't even sign up to try what it is. I'll just take anything that the company says and I'll take it for true. This is so stupid. This guy is a disgrace. He's the worst thing that happened to India since the British occupation. He is. Like, the fact that this kind of guy can actually 1.76 million subscribers. Oh my god, I'm way behind. I'm doing a terrible job when it comes to this.
all enterprise information under the line W25 B2B tag into a clear, well-structured table. Be sure to find all of it. So what it will do is it will go on to the YC website, which is what I also did.
Oh my god.
You can even the recent
So
heated
yeah, if you go to this website which is manus.im, you can just check out all of this stuff for yourself. I don't want to watch any of this. I'm sorry. Manus is I mean, it feels like a good product. It's been marketed as a good product. I've not tried it yet. I may try it. I may not. I feel like they've nailed a specific thing, which is they realized that sometimes the task needs some time to be operated, to be completed. So it's sort of the clone of Operator. If you can make it a little faster, it's better. But, you know, fundamentally what AI was missing is just having the ability to take its time and just tell you that, hey, that stuff that you launched earlier is done. It's now ready. That's something that the chatbot doesn't have, that something like Manus has. So simply, this was a missing piece in the AI puzzle, and now we have it. Good. So,
बोल सकते हैं?
awesome. I feel like I've farmed enough reaction content. I don't want to be a reactor, but it's like easy effort. I just watch a couple videos and we have a couple videos to upload. I know that it's fundamentally unethical, stealing off of other people's work, but right now I'm not particularly interested in being ethical. I'm more interested in being successful. And that's maybe a bad thing, I guess. It could be. It could very well be. But if it's high quality information, if it's a movie and all of that, you wouldn't want to watch a reaction. I feel like if any kind of content is better off with a reaction than the content itself, then maybe the content that is being reacted to isn't necessarily high quality. And in my opinion, podcasts are fundamentally low effort, low quality, low everything. Like they are not particularly interesting nor valuable nor high effort. Like all you're doing is just coming up and speaking, shit talking to a camera. That's all you're doing. So in case I'll do something else too. Let's code something. But the fundamental thing is, I don't put. If I'm stealing someone's content, it doesn't really matter, in my opinion. It may matter in yours, and I believe you should respect your own opinions. But right now, I feel like if the content is low quality, then I mean anybody should just take it because it's low quality, and maybe you can do something that is slightly more interesting, and that's it. It's like sampling in songs. You can take a good song and make it great. But if you sample and you make a worse song, then you're a dumbass. Anyway, so I was struggling. I was struggling in understanding exactly how to deal with financial data. Actually, I'll just. I'd want to clean up all of this. Actually, I'll just open up this. Anyway, I was struggling with understanding and with. I was okay. So I was struggling with understanding exactly how to manage data when it comes to financial markets. Simply because I'm not. It's first of all, it kind of gets sorted in high, open, low, close. And how do you deal with that? Like, which one should you keep? And I feel like I'm not sure. I need to still figure out exactly what it is. But I feel like just keeping the open and expressing close, high, and low as percentages of that is kind of a good way to do this, because it gives you sort of anchor, a real price anchor, and in relation to that, it's like you can add the other features. Maybe you can do the same with closing. I'm not sure, though. I guess maybe. And also, I uncovered the fact that there is a fundamental flaw in the way people trade, because you can't just go off of one indicator. And that is generally what a lot of traders do. Like, they're like, this is my indicator, and then they have like 2 lines. And that's not enough. Like, every indicator is going to be right sometime, but no indicator is right all the time. And so it's pretty much schizophrenia, where you associate something with something else when it's not necessary there is a relationship between the two things. At least that's what I believe. Anyway, this is a good way for me to sort of look better into the prices, keeping the open as is, and expressing the others in percentages. Mainly because you don't want to change the scale of the data. And also there is a strong generally resistance level at tipping points. Like 85 is gonna be a strong resistance level regardless. So that's something. Also, I feel like momentum trading is sort of dumb, mainly for the reasons that the market is extremely efficient. And if you believe that you can just read it with not even linear algebra, just vibes, I mean, you're in for a interesting run let's say that. If you feel like, if you think that the market just goes off of feelings, it's dumb. The market goes off of perceived rationality that sometimes is wrong. And that's where the market inefficiencies are, at a more philosophical level. Like, sometimes the markets create a view of the world that is wrong. And what you have to do is peel off the layers and find out where the inconsistency, where the wrongdoing is. Where did it go wrong? For example, I remember distinctly thinking that AI was going to take over, and it was going to take over all the jobs, and it was going to take over everything. And this was much before I started actually looking into large language models, understanding them, and all of that stuff, you know? So, to me, now the picture is much more clear on how AI is going to do that, and what kind of stuff stays valuable. And it's not necessarily just the AI models. I feel like data is the most important thing, and that's why you see Palantir having enormous price to ratios. Like, Palantir is traded at a 400 times multiplier, meaning that you have to hold the stock 400 years before it makes the money that it's worth now. And that is not a coincidence. The reason so much money went into it is that data is going to get extremely more valuable because of AI. And they have access to the most important data ever. They have access to the most private, most sensitive, most important data. Another industry that I feel like is going to grow exponentially because of this is the medical industry. The kind of data that they have access to, the kind of data that hospitals and pharmaceuticals get access to is enormous. And then in a post-AI world, and I mean, we are there in terms of technical capabilities. We have the engine, we don't have the car. But the car is coming. Someone will build it. Someone is already building it somewhere. We'll hear of them soon enough. But pretty much any company that has data that is proprietary and that is powerful and that is useful and that has value is most definitely going to make a lot of money in the age of AI. Anybody who doesn't have data, any corporation that has its moat in its talent is going to evaporate. There is no talent that can compete against AI. The battlefield is data. How much data do you have? How good is your data? Nothing else matters. Maybe, well, the kind of compute that you have. But the most important resource right now is data. By far. It already was like this. I heard that somewhere people were saying that data is the new oil. Well, we found a new way to use this oil. And it's so much more powerful than before. It can reason for itself. It can look at stuff. You know? So computers can adapt so much more now. They're so much more powerful. They're so much more capable. They're so much more flexible. The quantity and quality of data is by far, the most important thing that you have access to right now. And then maybe the creativity of assembling together an AI workflow of AI experts that you know, each of them extracts this kind of valuable information and this kind of valuable information and this kind of valuable information. But, you know, do I feel like AI, this gigantic AI bubble is gonna burst? Maybe. Simply because people will realize that AI is gonna take the tippity top positions in every industry. They're gonna be the ones that directly have access to the data. Because it already is like this. Every corporation has its data department. And all of that is going to be wiped away. You don't need so many people. You can manage the data so much more efficiently, so much better. And you can get speed and quality. Like an AI data house, so like pretty much a huge database with an AI on top of it, is AI's equivalent of cloud computing, meaning that every single company in the world will have that. And that's the implementation of AI as I see it in the next few years. That is what AI looks like. Not robots running around, not robots performing surgery, not giant skyscrapers. The utopia can very much be dystopia since it's hidden. But a lot of people have bet on AI thinking about that utopia. That's where the money comes from. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think market inefficiencies no longer come from news. Everybody knows the news. Everybody reads the news. It doesn't come from vibes. Like just because the momentum is going up, just because when you walk up a mountain, you know that there is a peak, a top, but you don't. Sometimes you go up and down. Just because it's going up doesn't mean that it's never gonna go down. You know. So momentum is so stupid to me. But anyway, we're developing this software, so I'm developing it live every day. So yeah, feel free to follow me.